Uh-huh. There it is. There it is. There it is. What's going on, world? We were, 31 of the day, trying to be mindful of data or whatnot. Got the Devin Witherspoon. You already know. Cornerback. Seattle defense right now. But right now, the Bills are up by 1 against the Broncos. Let's see what happens, man. By the end of this recording session, the game might be over, so we'll find out by then. But even then, man, we just chilling here. It's funny because I planned today off of a whim, though, but I was like, I knew the tides of, a certain tide of stuff was changing, but I threw on the university hoodie just to get all the fits out the way. I'm like, let me get all the fits on. Let me get them all out the way, one by one, piece by piece. I'm going to go through each piece and intentionally rock them as much as possible as I keep entering this space here. For as long as I have this space here and I can utilize it, I will continue. And yeah, we're going to do all the university fits. Even though we're not doing university mindsets as an intro anymore, we're going to keep on going through those, you know what I mean? So that's going to be a thing in of itself. So got the notepad here, man. We'll see, man. We'll see. I got a little carried away speaking a lot on the video previous to this one. That was 242. We're on 243 right now, and it's interesting because, the whiteboard, like I said, I got to start bringing my own dry erase markers with me places because they're not providing the markers anymore for whatever reason. I don't know who's in here sabotaging shit. They probably think that I am, but I've always put everything back where I found it. So that's the funny thing, man. Every time I'm here, history shows I always put shit back where I found it. But I don't know if someone else is fucking around, messing around with the equipment and messing around with other shit. But I'm gonna start to have to, fixing to have to do it like this, man. Just like this. But right now, this is how we're utilizing things, man. And we're going horizontal for those wondering. But this is 243. TTH 243. Got no markers to use. I mean, we do have one, but it's just a lot to clean up. It's a lot to deal with. So this is 243. The Truancy Hour, TTH 243. To speak on the effects of death. The effects of death, all right? That's what I got written down here. I want to talk about my Uncle Alan passing away. He's the youngest of, when it comes down to my dad's brothers, he's the youngest of the brothers. So that's the interesting part of it. Where'd my guy go? That's the interesting part of it. My hold on, man. Is this the security? What y'all doing? Don't do this to me. Anyway, my dad is the oldest of 7 brothers, and the youngest is Uncle Alan. Now it's interesting. Randomly I was talking to my brother yesterday about because my dad went to some work event or something, and I went to go but I walked past his job and he was walking out, and this guy walks out and this is a weekend. He doesn't normally work weekends, and he just walked up to me and was like, "Oh, they're having like a baby shower right now." Like I didn't really care where he was at, but he just for whatever reason, he just wanted to let me know like that's where he was at this morning. He's like, "Yeah, the baby shower this morning." He was just talking to me. I was like, "That's okay. I mean, that's all right." I don't know. I just walked past. I just kind of kept going about my day, and I just kind of thought it was funny that he let me know. But it's just between me and my brother, it's the way my dad talks that it's kind of funny. So then I don't know why, but my brother told me a story like right after that. So he's telling me one, and he says, yes, like once because his vision isn't that his vision is 20/20 vision, if you will, isn't that great. So he says he's walking down the street and he sees like he's like some skinny dude kind of like across the street and then like kind of approaching him or something. And then he's like kind of looking at what the fuck is this, man? Like who's walking up over here? Come to find out it was our uncle, and he just went up to him. It was like 2 a.m. He's like, "Hey, what you doing, man? What you got going on?" Like they're just talking to him or some shit randomly. So he just said it was something funny like that. He was like, yeah, sometimes because like the way I described my dad's situation, it was like some random dude that I for whatever reason I didn't recognize him until he walked up to me and just talked to me. But I guess the same thing with my uncle. So maybe that was the correlation. But when he said that, he brought up my uncle Alan. I started thinking like, damn. And then I went to the bathroom and then I was just sitting there and I was like, I almost forgot that he died. Like sometimes the effects of death is like, I get so caught up in my shit. Like sometimes I don't know, and I don't know how many other people go through this similar thing where I just don't know how often I'm blanking out people's deaths. You know what I mean? How often somebody dies in my life, and then I'm just kind of blanking it out of my mind, like just forgetting that they're dying. Or, I say this all the time. When my mom was dying, I didn't even realize it until after she died. I was looking at some pictures I took with her and I took of her, and I didn't realize how old she looked. I didn't realize how old she looked in those pictures and whatever. Because a lot of times I would take pictures of her and I would just show it to her right away. I'd be like, "Look, it's you smiling. Look, it's you." I would just kind of just have fun with her, and it'd be her doing like a funny face or a stupid face, and I would show it to her, and we'd just be in the moment laughing. But those same pictures I looked at, that I was taking in the moment just to show her again and just have fun with her. I looked at it. I was like, yeah, she did really look really old, and she died at 64. But I'm like, she actually looked really older. Like my neighbor was always constantly saying like, oh yeah, I know your relative right there. That's your grandma or something. He kept on saying grandma. I was like, no, that's my mom. That's my mom. She just looked really old and act really old, and she was, beaten down by life and shit. And my uncle was a lot more sudden. He was the youngest of all his brothers. He was born in I don't know if I'm trying to remember because this morning I was looking at his memorial. What do you call this? Like the little catalog, the little the memorial catalog you get at the funerals. So I was looking at that this morning. I think it was the morning or last night, and I was like, I think he said he was born in '69 because my dad's born in '59. I think he's born in '69. So if that's the case, he would have passed away around 20, 12, 13 ish, around that time period, or 13, 14, something like that. So if I'm doing the math correctly, 7, 8, 9. Oh, so he would have been in his 40s, right? He would have been in his 40s when he died. Yeah, because like 2019, he wasn't alive. And I know that because my grandpa died 2018. And that's another aspect about the effects of death is it's really strange, like I'm at an age now where, well, let me say this, right? When you get older, like you're an elderly person, people that are born before you are supposed to die. And then you might be the last one left. And my grandpa, like 4 of his sons died. He had to constantly have someone break the news to him that 4 times that, 4 of his sons died before he died. So someone had to break the news to him. It's usually my aunt or my uncle. And like there's 2 uncles left here and then my dad. So those are the only sons that are left from that. And yeah, man, it's 4 brothers. So like, and then that's another thing about it too is my dad being the oldest of his brothers, he has to sit there and think about 4 of his younger brothers that have passed away. One of them that's still remaining is the second to youngest, and it's just he's constantly going to the hospital. He's making health choices, poor health choices, and he's just like he's living his life having fun. He's kind of like me. Everyone says I'm like him, or they're like, yeah, man, you act like him, bro. He just be nonchalant about shit and he act like he don't know what's going on. But oh yeah, that sound about right. I don't know what to tell you. That sound about right. But the effects of death is weird, man. It's like I just remember them. These are guys from the Philippines. These 2 brothers, and they were petitioned a long time ago, like back in the '80s, and then it finally took like the 2010s for them to finally get here. So it was like '90s, 2000s, 2010s. So like 20 some years to 30 something years for them to finally, like, all right, you guys are approved to move to the United States. So they finally get here. And it's funny because they're here for a little bit. And then we're having this little, we're going to have a little barbecue on, or like we're going to have like a food thing at my uncle's house where they're going to be living. I have a food thing there. And they're going to be barbecuing on the porch. So they go outside where they're barbecuing on the grill. So you got to remember, this is June for us. So it's like in the high 70s, low 80s, degree wise, Fahrenheit. These guys are straight from the Philippines. To us, that's like summertime. In Seattle, that's like summertime. These guys are on the fucking balcony just like doing this, like with overcoats on. Not overcoats, but like little down jackets, puff jackets, just like, oh shit. Just freezing out there. I'm like, bro, this is the summertime. I sweat a lot. I showed up here with shorts. And it was like, what the fuck? Like some of us are in shorts and they're just freezing. But I just remember that, like just watching them freezing in June. I'm like, bro, it's like end of school era. You know, it's like summertime, start of summer, and like they're freezing. That shit is funny as hell, and it's like warm to us. It's one of the warm days where it's like, yo, we're gonna eat and then drink and then barbecue, grill some oysters. That's what my uncle does over there. So I don't know, man. That shit just cracked me up. I'm thinking about that a lot. Bills might win. Bills might beat the Broncos. What's going on here? Bills might beat the Broncos. What we doing? So yeah, it was just one of them things, and to my understanding, and I'll get to what I'm trying to get to. It's like I guess when my uncle was, he was working, making money, and he'd go back and forth. He'd go to the Philippines. He'd come back, and there was a moment where he was over there. I don't know if he's playing around or if he's laying down a certain way, but he hit the back of his head on a rock or something, or just something, just something. And to my understanding, he would get random headaches when he came back, and he just wouldn't want to get checked up. He's like, "No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm all right. I'm all right." Come to find out, one morning, they're just like they didn't understand. Like he just never came out the bathroom one morning, so they're over here, trying to bust through the door. When they bust through, they just see his body there, and come to find out, he just suffered one of those, like, I guess it's like an aneurysm. So he had an aneurysm in the back of his head or whatever. I forget the specific terminology, and they just found his body, and yeah, they're just talking about they were just screaming and shit, and yeah, they just found him like that. The autopsy said it was an aneurysm, something that just built up over time that he never checked out, a clot, if you will. It's just something that just was in the back of his head, and right next to his brain, obviously, pretty much in the same area where his brain is at. So he ended up dying, and we had a funeral for him, and I remember how much that affected me. And I want to say either that same year, no, sorry, maybe no, same time period. Like my grandma had passed. That was my grandpa's sister, and I didn't realize how much that would affect me. I really thought a lot about, I would go next door, and she wasn't mean to me. And then I remember like my brother even talking about, we were such badass little kids that our cousins didn't like dealing with us sometimes, but my grandma would still like, hey, come over here. I got some stuff for you guys, and she made sure she got us some toys. You know, even though we were like ungrateful, bad fucking kids, it's just little things like that where it's like you got these elders that still give a fuck about you. It's like I see you guys, I see y'all little badass kids, but be nice to each other. Be nice to your mom and dad. And sometimes your elders realize, your mom and dad ain't your moms and dads ain't they ain't the sharpest tools in the box type shit. And, they know, she knew my grandpa, excuse me, and knew that he wasn't the brightest person, wasn't the happiest person, but also, her being his older, wait, her being his older sister, she already knew, like, yo, man, he been through a lot of shit. We all been through a lot of shit from the war up until, to martial law up until now, all the et ceteras. We just been through it all. So she had already known. She was already understanding. And she had a lot of empathy for our household next door. Only so much she could do. There's only so much she can do, but she had a lot of empathy and space for us. And when she passed away, that hit me a lot too. So it's just the effects of death. Like I realized there was a time period where, we were kids and we would go to funerals. We would just look at these random bodies of elder people we didn't know. At least I didn't, because I'm the youngest of my cousins. And as time went on, like I said, I started I was spending time with my cousins. I'm like, oh, yeah, I had one cousin who was in growing up in Singapore before he moved here, and his dad died when he was a kid. He was damn near a baby because I met him as a kid, but I never really like got to know him like that because he was living in Singapore. But eventually, he fucking moved here, and he started talking to me about his dad being dead. And I was like, I do remember meeting Uncle. I ain't gonna say his name, Uncle Bobby. I guess I'll say his name because rest in peace, Uncle Bobby. But it's like I won't say my cousin's name, but it's just like just hearing that, and then like you know, the other side extended family, like Auntie Naomi. I don't even think I ever met her. My other cousin's mom. So I'm just like hearing about my cousins being raised without one of their parents, excuse me, and it started to hit me when I hit 29 and I lost my mom. So like I said, the effects of death sometimes it's like I have there's people who have experienced a heavy one, like losing a parent young, and then having that emptiness and like that the strange void when you're witnessing other people spend time with their family. And it probably was weird for them to see me dysfunctionally operate with my mom and dad, because we had a weird love and hate with each other in our household. But nonetheless, I will say back to my uncle, it's like really interesting because when he passed away, I just really started thinking like, told my brother, I'm like, yeah, with all those things considered, the time we spent with him and the time he spent here in the States, It is strange that he's just dead. Like I forgot that he was that I forgot that he's not around. I just forgot about that. You know, the effects of death is weird. I almost like it's not like I expected him to come back around and just show up out of nowhere. And who knows how I would have reacted. In moments where I'm heated in the household or amongst my family members and I'm cussing them out. I probably still do the same things if he was still alive and around. I don't care who's around. I'll cuss whoever I need to out to get my point across because I just be angry sometimes about angry and passionate about shit. And I can't help it. And I'm not gonna hold my tongue. You know what I'm saying? So it's like forgive me for the delivery, but I'm not gonna lie. So sometimes like motherfuckers will hit me up and I'm like, I'm not even gonna pick up this phone because I'm gonna have to cuss you out. You want some bullshit. You know? That's just who I am. Who am I to lie? So that's my thing, man. That's my thing. But I just started thinking about it. I was like, damn, I forgot he was dead. So I started thinking a little bit too about and it's funny because these are notes, from an audio version of Truancy Hour that has happened a long time ago, and I'm just re-expounding on old notes and getting those out the way before, or excuse me, while I formulate things throughout the week and formulate things throughout my days and stuff. So it's really strange, man, because I started thinking about, I used to train in eskrima, which is Filipino stick fighting. So we doing our little thing, pop, 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 with a rhythm and all that. But it also comes from stems from Jeet Kune Do as well. Our practices come from Jeet Kune Do. Shout out to I trained under Uncle Ray and Guru Mike, Guru James, and they trained under Guru Pete, GP, and GP also trained under Richard Bustillo, Danny DeSanto, and all those guys got their trainings and teachings by way of Bruce Lee as well. So we have a lineage of Jeet Kune Do, JKD, if you will, and then we also, because these are Filipino people, generationally, and each shifu, and each guru is more or less Filipino, if not learning in the Filipino arts. There's Eskrima integrated with JKD, and then shout out to Guru D because he teaches us Silat. So we got the Silat stuff going on, which is Indonesian martial arts. So we just got a mix of stuff going on. It's JKD, Silat, and Eskrima, and that was the stuff I was learning for about a year and a half, 2 years or so. And we used to have a little girl that would come train with us. She was one of my favorite people to train with. It's like a little kid. Because all the kids hated training with her because she would just always rough and full. She's going full power and she wasn't following the rules. She would just like just make sure you tap 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 and go through the drills. But she would be swinging hard. So I like to work with people like that because hey, they're at least they're expressing themselves. They're expressing themselves honestly on some Jeet Kune Do shit. But two, it's nice to work with people like that because this is basically who I was as a kid. So rest in peace to Charisma. This is a little girl that used to train with us. Her family would bring her around, her and her sister, and condolences to their family, obviously. But when we found out, we always knew that she was dying of I forget it, some form of cancer. I fucking forget, dog. It's some form of that shit, and sometimes I forget that that little kid is no longer around. I think she lived to be about 12 or 13. But yeah, her last days were just being spent, bald headed and joking around to try to get through shit. And she would just make fun of, she would just make fun of people. She would make certain people uncomfortable just to get under the skin and get a rile out of it. But that's just who she was, man. She would just, do the most just to, but, for her older sister, her mom and dad to bury someone younger than them, it's that again, where I'm just witnessing somebody having to bury someone younger than them. Because for me, it's like everyone older than me has passed away, and up to that point, and like it'd be like other classmates dying, friends dying, so people close to my age being murdered in the streets and shit like that. So, you have that aspect where like sometimes I forget. Well, with certain people I forget because it's just like strange to think about. But sometimes like a whole family or a whole household is hurting about something. And anyway, I say all that to say like sometimes I forget about certain deaths because I'm not living with those people under my roof. But like I said, down the line when my grandpa died and my mom died, it's like, yeah, we had two people in our household pass away. and that hit me differently. I started to understand like this is what it's like to have someone that you was in your household pass away, and that was heavy. That was heavy because it was like now I no longer have someone to be responsible for too, which is also another aspect. It's really strange how that works. Um, anyway, this kid used to be one of my favorite people to train with, man, because they were just honestly expressing themselves, full power, full swing with the stick. You know what I mean? The stick being an extension of the hand and arm, and stick also being metaphorical for a sword if necessary. But we train with sticks because striking with the blunt objects and whatnot. But I say all this to say, like, it hit a lot of us kind of hard, and when it was time to kind of speak on behalf of her, I didn't really know what to go up there and say. I don't think a lot of us knew what to say. It was just like, I had a lot of stuff that I thought about in my mind, and I was like, I just don't want to share that. Does that make sense? It's weird. It's like when I'm at the funerals, people want you to go up and speak on behalf of something or someone. And, I used to be annoyed when my mom was like, go up there and talk, go up there and talk. Like, man, I want to go up there and fucking talk. What the hell? I just want to, whatever. I don't want to do the whole whatever. And I was just like, even when my mom was being buried, my aunts were like, you should go up there. And I was like, honestly, man, everything I needed to say to her, I had already, oh shit. Everything I needed to say to her, I had already said out loud. So I don't feel the need to say anything there. Like, no, just to kind of give a speech to the people. And I was like, I don't know. I just don't know if I want to do that. But my brother ended up going up and doing that because I just didn't want to speak about anything. I just wanted to handle the business side of stuff. But I just didn't want to speak at funerals, man. I feel like, because, look at me, man. I be doing this shit, the truancy hour. I be doing these little conversation pieces where I'm talking to the camera. I'm just talking to people in general out in public or just whatever I'm doing, just in public, talking to people at work, whatever I'm doing. I just like to talk a lot, and I could take up a lot of space talking, being heard, and just speaking in general. And it's like I don't want to make the funeral about me because I know I know the way I am. I know I'm constantly gonna try to like shift the energy into like making there's a piece of me that's gonna like, oh, I'm gonna have to give out one of the best speeches. Oh, I know I'm about to do one of these. I'm about to show out, being hella extra and show out. I'm already knowing I'm gonna be on some bullshit. You understand? I already know I'm gonna be on some bullshit. Not like I'm intentionally trying to be the best or like the whatever, but I already know I have that aspect about myself that like, if you give me the microphone, man, you give me the space, you give me the floor, I'm gonna take the shit and I'm gonna run with it. I'm just naturally like that sometimes, man. Don't give me that shit. Don't give me the rock, knowing what I'm about to do with it. If you give me the rock and you like, hey, man, it's all about you. It's really you time right now. I'm like, oh, word, it's like that. You're gonna see me take over and be remembered forever type shit, in the worst way or the best way. That's how I go, man. I just be going all out. You know what I'm saying? So when it's someone's funeral, I'd rather go all out on making sure that they're being buried properly and everyone that needs to be there is there type shit. And everyone's being, hugged. The right people are being hugged and held. That's really important. That's really important. And I know that like, the tongue is mightier than the sword, so they say, right? Tongue is mightier than the sword. I make sure that I don't speak at funerals, man. It's a time that I self-reflect, and I'm like, everything I needed to say, hopefully I said it while they were alive. That's why I try to talk to people straight up more often, every day, as often as possible, and things like that. Because I just know when it's funeral time, I'm like, man, I don't want to be that guy that be telling stories, true or false. I just want to, like, hey, man, everything I needed to be said, I already had said it to you, right or wrong, man. Some people I had to have words with. My own grandpa, I had to check him sometimes. I didn't like that he was being disrespectful to my cousins behind their back because they didn't understand the language, they didn't understand the dialect. Motherfucker be talking crazy shit about them. I'm like, yo, they driving you and helping you around, and you want to talk crazy about them. That's fucked up to me. I don't like that shit. I don't fuck with that. And I tell him straight up. And he loved and respected me for it. Cause it's like I never loved him no less, but I was like, bro, that's wrong. That's wrong. You understand? But I think a lot about, like, again, Uncle Alan. That shit hit me where I realized, damn, that motherfucker dead. Charisma, she's fucking dead. That's crazy. A little girl, man, she was like 13, 14, something like that. And, just dealing with cancer and shit. And like I had in my mind where I was like, man, I don't know when's the right time. I don't even know how to reach out to her parents like that. Her mom was good friends with my cousin, and I was like, honestly, man, I cut my hair. I got it bundled up in a little bag. If she needs a wig, I got that. And then she just ended up dying. I was sitting on that for a while, and it was a long story, because I remember people at work like, why'd you cut your hair? And I was like, you want the long story or the short story? And I was like, short story, I want to donate to anyone who might need a wig. Short story, her specifically, little girl I used to train martial arts with. Said her, she died of cancer, and I was trying to give her the wig, but she passed away anyway. So I'm just sitting on the hair right now. I just got it. I just still got it in the Ziploc bag and shit. So we'll see, man. I still might ship that out to I think in Florida they have a I think it's a company in Florida where you can send your hair to, and they can make wigs out of it. I forget exactly what it's called. If you guys know what it's called, man, just put it in comments or something. If that'll help out for people that want to do stuff like that, because hair is just hair to me. I was doing it for my own spiritual stuff to have a spiritual antenna to the universe, and also having a piece of something that's connected to your crown that you have to wash and take care of, and you let its natural oils take place and shit like that. Just because I have straight hair, so it's like I take care of it a certain way. So there's a level of self care of taking care of yourself and taking care of your crown and scalp that's very important and very spiritual as a practice, and just like and just having it. Um, but yeah, that was Charisma. Passing away. She was only 13 at the most. Uncle Alan, and then like I said, Grandpa's son's dying before him. Like I just looking at my notes here, that's these are a handful of people that I had to really think about. Like I almost forgot they were dead, and I thought I'm gonna throw this in. This is not part of my notes, but I'm gonna throw in my friend Cole. Hold on. My friend Cole who passed away. I mean, I don't know. Like, it's just weird. It's like, to my understanding, he left a note to his loved ones, and then he went missing, but there was never no body found, so they can't confirm an actual death without the body. Death as in the physical body proving. Spirit passing on is one thing, but the fact that the body is unalived, if you will. And I remember going to my friend. Hold on, let me check the time here. Are we doing good on time? I went to my friend Derek's um workplace, if you will, workplace, if not project, business, whatever you want to call it. And forgive me, Derek, if I'm saying it incorrectly, but he has a grieving center, if you will. It's a grieving center. It's a place for people to kind of just peacefully get away, sit, talk, meditate, and all that, and conversate, if you will. They're able to kind of just, you know, and sometimes people, if they feel the need to, if you ever feel like you need to have a memorial service of some kind, like a very small and intimate one, you can do it at that place. It's called a resting place, if I remember correctly. So anyway, I'm visiting him at a resting place, which is where he more or less works, or that's his operation or whatever. And every now and again, I'll just see random people in there just kind of experiencing what that room is like, or what that space is like, and just being in the moment. And I talk with him, and I'm just looking at they got these there's like a little altar with all these pictures people offer. They're like, oh man, I'll bring like a relative's picture or a friend's picture that passed away, and I'll put it here in this altar, and just like they'll share the same space and altar space with everyone else. So it's a grieving center in that regard, right? And I see my friend Cole in there, and like I just see his picture, and I'm like, I feel like I recall somebody telling me that he died or passed away, or he just is not around. But just for some reason, I'm seeing his picture made it really real to me. And I was like, hold on, bro, is that Cole? I was asking my friend Derek, I was like, is that Cole? And he was like, yeah, man. And then we started talking about it, and I was like, I feel like somebody told me this. I just don't know if I remembering it being like this, the way he explained the story to me. And that's when I realized it got real to me, when I saw a picture of him. When I looked at his face, it really hit me. I was like, yo, he's really gone. He's really gone. This is some guy that just, randomly, he would go on my Bandcamp, and he would just buy music. Syncobane.bandcamp.com. He would go on that shit, just buy my music. Just randomly. He would just support an album, and he would just leave a little note, like, just whatever, or like pump a fist on it, or whatever. It's a white dude, man. He was hella down for shit. And this, Cole was rest in peace to Cole, man. That's a real motherfucker right there, because you got to understand this guy, like, all right, so I'll tell you like this. Me and my friend Dante, we used to do this poetry shit. And then they'd be like, hey, if you do this thing for the classrooms, if you do that, we'll pay you guys. And there's one that we did where like I was cussing, so maybe I didn't deserve to pay because I was cussing in front of the kids, so that's my bad. But I'm over here, we're over here talking to kids and doing the stuff, and we're doing all these activities for, this one dude, and he never fought for us to get paid. He never, he just told us to do the things, but he said, man, I guess they just couldn't pay you guys. But he never really fought for us to get paid. He was just nonchalantly going about his business and just faking the funk on like being down for people and shit. He's a goofball. But nonetheless, he means well, but he's a goofy. But Cole, man, this motherfucker was like the whitest person ever. But the chillest, most down person, like he wants to hear what your struggles is about. If you got a certain level of sexuality and kink, he don't judge you. He's there to listen and hear you out. He was one of the coolest motherfuckers ever, man. Just chilling, minding his business. He's liking music. He's disliking music. He's down for shit. He's with shit. He supported everybody, and he asked us to do another poetry thing, and he made sure that check got in our hand. He said, "I'll make sure I pay y'all, man. This is that college money right here, but I'll make sure that you guys. I know you guys, so I want to make sure you guys get that check." And he made sure he put the check in our hand. I was like, "Yo, that's a real motherfucker right there." And he went on my Bandcamp to buy music. And my bitch ass, bro, I emailed him. I said, "Hey, what's your address, man?" Because I was trying to send him a bundle of CDs and shit. And I kept delaying that shit. My bitch ass kept delaying that shit, and I never got it to him in time. I wish I would have sent him. You know what I'm saying? I wish I would have sent him the bundles of CDs signed. Just send him the note. I wish I would have sent that shit to him on time, bro. Make sure he had it before he passed away, or just went wherever he disappeared to. We don't know. I wish I did that for him, and I didn't. So I fucked up right there. That's me. That's my L. That's my biggest L. I don't care. Somebody could, I don't care, man. Somebody could have socked me in the face. Somebody could have took $1 off of me. Somebody could have took whatever, a watch from me, whatever. But the biggest L in my life, bro, I never got a chance. One of the biggest L's is, I never got a chance to do certain things for my mom. I never got a chance to make things right with Cole, man. He made sure that check went in my hand, and the least I could have did was just like stop being lazy and just shipped out the signed CDs that he supported, because he was buying the digital copies on Bandcamp. But I want to make sure he get the real shit. So it's crazy, man. So that's my L right there, man. Fuck all that. Somebody could do some foul street shit or whatever to me all day, but I'm like, hey, man, me not doing right by good people and right people, the righteous people, that's where I messed up. That's on me. That's my L. That's one of my L's in life, and I think about that sometimes. But I said, the effects of death, just knowing somebody died or knowing the whatever of it, and then seeing my man's picture in a little memorial, a little altar thing, I started thinking like, damn, that really hit me. Like I didn't realize it didn't really hit me until I saw his picture. I was looking at it, I was like, damn, he's dead. That's crazy, you know. Rest in peace to my guy Bati, man. Bati is another dude. That's one of my classmates from middle school, man. One of my classmates from middle school, he was in my grade, but his little brother was Bati. And then I was just like, I had gym class with Bati. Pause. I looked at this dude's face. I was like, man, you look hella like, and you laugh like someone I know. He said, who's that person? I said, it's my guy Mercana. And man, I said, that's my brother. I said, oh, that's some funny ass shit, because y'all really hella look alike. And Bati, time went on. I would just say, what's going on, Bati? We shake hands and shit. I go to, freshman year. I think we're like about a year or 2 years apart. Freshman year, go to high school, maybe sophomore year later on, a couple years down the line. I be seeing this guy. He's still in 8th grade. Everybody saying he's gonna be like the next Lupe Fiasco. Everybody's like, yo, he really, hey man, he got the bars. He be spitting. He not about no bullshit. He not about no trap shit. He not about no funky shit. He really be spitting. That's him. I was like, oh, he about to be the next Lupe Fiasco. We already knew. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna be the no, no pun in. Yeah, I ain't gonna try and be funny, but he was the Aromo Fiasco, low key, bro. Because he was Ethiopian, but he's Oromo. He's from Oromo descent, and yeah, man, we used to hit the studio with him, man. It was like I was like the high school kid. These were some middle school kids. We'd all be at the studio, and shout out to I will say, man, props to Andrew Callahan for Channel 5 News, man. That he used to be the guy that would host us at these studios, and he was on some weirdo shit at the time. I ain't gonna lie, Andrew was on some bullshit, pretend like he was something he wasn't, and just trying to get involved with all this other music shit. But I give him props because he let Bati be in the studio. He was tight friends with Bati and all them dudes. He was in the same grade and all that shit. But shout out to Andrew for that shit, man. But rest in peace to Bati, man. Like, that's another dude that I don't have the full story for, but it's just one of the things where he passed away, and then I happened to be at my guy OT's concert. My girlfriend took me to strange day. My girlfriend took me to this local little art show, and the special guest was OT. He was going to perform, and that's that same morning I ended up going to therapy, but they also do relationship therapy, and I took my girlfriend with me, and we ended up fighting and having an argument that day. Like later, like we kind of talked about it, and she was crying because she was hearing the stuff that we needed to go through, and that was the first time I was able to bring her, because she wanted to see what the therapist was like, I'm inviting you to bring your girlfriend for this session if you want, so it got emotional. with her, and then she took me to that thing that night. We got a chance to see my friend OT, and then there was another. We had another mutual friend that was in the crowd, and she knew Bati really well, and I wanted to talk to her, and I felt bad because in the middle of my homie's OT's performance, we're just talking about the dead homie on the side, and I was like, damn, what was the cause? What's the situation? What's the and then I was just like, you know what, man, I'm gonna leave it alone because I don't want to like lose sight of what's my guy performing right now. So that was some emotional shit going on, and then my girlfriend wanted to fucking argue with me that day and night. And the next morning, I just fucking crashed out. I was like, you got to get the fuck out because I'm just like dealing with some shit right now. Like, my homie's dead. We're over here chatting about that shit, and you making some shit about you. You got to get the fuck out of this house right now. I just remember, like, just it didn't really hit me how much that really bothered me that he was dead. You know, because I messaged his brother, who I was closer friends with, to some degree, and just letting him know, like, bruh, condolences, man. Like, I don't even know what to say. Like, if you want someone to talk to, I mean, whatever. I'm here, but that shit fucked me up too. That shit hit me because, you know, like I said, this is another guy. He's not too much younger than me, but he's younger than me. We felt the need to look out for him all the time, and then he's just dead. He's just dead. You know, the effects of death is weird, man. I'll end on this, man. You know, going to funerals and looking in a casket at a body is one thing, but so there's this one. I think it was like Memorial Day or um, some type of memorial remembrance day, and it was one of those days where like I had to go to work, so I'm just eating shit, getting ready to eat before I brush my teeth, dress up, and go to work. And I look out the window, just randomly something tells me like as I'm eating something, like a hard boiled egg or something. I look out the window and I just see like a cat laying in the rain, like it's raining outside. It's a lot of rain, but it's really light. You know what I mean? Like it's like volumes of rain, but it's really light the way it's coming down. And there's like this black cat in the alleyway. I'm looking in the alleyway like, what the fuck? So I go out there and I try to talk to this dude, and he starts hissing at me like he's hissing, and he look like he about to swipe and shit. I'm like, yo, what's going on with you, bruh? Damn. And then I realize like I'm trying to pet him, and he's hella mad that I'm petting him. And I realize his leg is like stiff, like it's fucked up. I don't know if he fell down or if he got attacked. So I'm like, oh shit. So I take off my sweater, my little house sweater. I wrap it around him and I put him on the porch. And I try to gently put him on the porch, and I just keep him, whatever. Yo, just stay right here, bro. We trying to put like little crushed crackers and food next to him and shit. We just trying to put shit next to him. And I told my brother and my mom before I left, I was like, yo, just check on the bruh. Check on little black cat from the neighborhood. Because he might have, I assume he's from the house that got knocked down and rebuilt into fucking condos right up the alleyway up the street because, it's this old black couple that used to live there. They had the little black cat, and then they had the Rottweiler that would just stick around and just bark at everybody. Like, you don't walk through here, dog. The Rottweiler was up there. And yeah, man, it's like the black cat was still around from the neighborhood, and I'm over here knocking on the neighbor's door, the new people. I'm like, that's not your cat, right? Because I have one on my porch right now that's black cat. Now we don't have a black cat, but I think I know whose cat that is, and they started talking. So I just stayed in contact with them in regards to the cat throughout the day. So I'm over here at work. I'm checking in with my brother and all this shit. I get back home. I'm trying to pet the cat. The body's stiff. I didn't understand at the time, so I'm just thinking like he's just cold or he just went to sleep. He's not moving. His eyes are closed though, and he's real stiff. Like his arm is just stuck out and he's stiff. And calling a veterinarian places and shelter places and all that, and then I called 911 and all that shit, and they come down. They're like, listen, man, they can't come out because it's a holiday today. You can bring them in the car, and I can take you there, or you can kind of just wait it out and see what you have to do. It sounds like you have to bury him if his body is stiff. And I was like, are you serious? I was like, man, I don't know if I want to get in the car and just do all that. And he was like, I know, man, but these are the options. It's up to you. I was like, let me just see what I can do. Let me talk to the neighbor. Talk to the neighbor. He checked on the body, came back from work. It's later in the day, so now it's raining hard. He's like, man, it's dead, man. I don't know if you ever dealt with a dead cat before. And I was scared to hold it after that, just hearing that. I'm trying to dig a hole in my yard. Yard doesn't go that deep. We got these little planter boxes on the side of the house next door because the old neighbors were like kind of they were kind of like hippies, but they were really like these nice like white people, and they used to plant strawberries and shit over there. So the dirt is still there. And then my neighbor's like, listen, man, since this is technically on our property now, we live here now. We can just dig this together, bro, and then we could just bury it together, man. And he said, just keep the body wrapped in the sweater. So I ended up throwing my sweater into the pile of dirt with the black cat, and that, yeah, we just buried that dude right there. That was crazy. It was raining heavy that night. We did that thing. He said we got to bury it deep, so that way the raccoons and possums don't try to dig it up and try to eat his body. So we'll just try to bury him deep. But that was me, holding a stiff dead animal. I was like, I ain't never did that before. That one fucked me up a little bit too. But yeah, the effects of death, man, it got you really thinking about mortality to a certain degree and things like that. You be thinking and questioning mortality to different degrees, and man, you really just have you questioning life and being grateful. And that's one thing, man. Just every day, I just exercise gratitude as much as possible. Being grateful and exercising gratitude to the highest degree as much as possible. Just reflecting and remembering people younger than me, people who are no longer around and didn't get a chance to see how old I am. I got to make the most of being 32 because there's some people who never got a chance to see 32, 33, what's coming next, etc. So that's just where my mental is at. And I don't expect everyone to really understand that, but just based off of my experiences and the way I process death sometimes and the way I have a hard time processing death, I got to make the most of my life. So you're going to see me try to knock out as many videos and just creations as possible and leave the world with, just leading with positivity and storytelling, if you will. So that's just where my mind and my mental is at. So hopefully what I'm saying makes sense. I'll leave it at that, man. That's the effects of death. Those are the certain people that, people and things and whatnot that died in my life. There it is, man. That's all I can really say. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all, man. Peace. I'm out.